Welcome back. We're continuing to talk about these conference predictions. Today, we're going to talk about the ACC and another very intriguing conference, as we've mentioned about the other ones. I think it's another year where you kind of look around and you go, is Clemson going to come back to where they have been in recent years, or are they going to be the same team they were a year ago? Miami, great quarterback. NC State, great quarterback. I think Pitt, who won it last year, they're maybe a team that's getting slept on. Wake Forest had a great year. So a lot of really good teams, some high-powered offenses, some really good coaches, and good quarterback play are kind of headlining this entire conference, which should make it very, very fun this upcoming year. So let's start with the contenders. I think there's three contenders in the ACC, and that's Clemson, Miami, and NC State. I think that Clemson is going to get back to form this year. They have a great defense. Their offensive weapons, I think, are good enough for them to win the conference and make it to a college football playoff. It all comes down for me to the quarterback position. And I don't think they're going to have the issue they had last year. DJ, he was great. He struggled last year. You know what I mean? I think that he's been great this spring and he's been great this fall camp, and all the confidence from Dabo is that he's going to be the guy, right? Well, I'm not so sure on that. I'm not so sure that he's going to be the guy throughout the year, but let's just say he is. Let's just say he's the guy throughout the season. The only way that happens is if he is very, very good. If it doesn't happen, then Cade Klubnik is going to come in, and Cade is a very, very talented player who I would have a lot of confidence in leading this team to a lot of wins this upcoming season. So either way, the quarterback play will improve this upcoming year. The defense can be very good, and the weapons are still there for this team to be very successful in the ACC. As far as Miami and NC State go, I think these two teams are just getting a ton of hype right now. And nationally, I'm not sure how good they are, but in the ACC, I think they're plenty good to make it to an ACC championship game and win a ton of games. Nationally, I think they're more like top 15 teams instead of, I know some people have NC State inside the top 5. I'm not there yet. But I do think they are very quality. They both have great quarterbacks who could take them to another level. Miami with Tyler Van Dyke, NC State with Devin Leary. Both teams have a lot of talent up front and a lot of talent on the defensive side. And I think that bodes really, really well for them. NC State's done a great job recruiting the offensive line as well. They have a great quarterback. They're going to run the football. They're going to play really good defense. And for those reasons, they're going to be very solid throughout the year. Miami is a little bit more of a high ceiling, low floor team. But in my eyes, I think they're going to reach that ceiling year one under Mario Cristobal. They're going to be very, very good this year. My dark horse in the ACC is actually the team that won the ACC a year ago, and that's Pitt. And my reason for this is I have a ton of questions about Pitt, but if all of them get answered in the right way, at least the right way for Pitt fans, they could easily win this conference. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about, but here are my questions. Was last year a fluke with Kenny Pickett? Is the scheme Mark Whipple's scheme or Pat Narduzzi? As in, is Pat Narduzzi making that shift to where he's going to want to throw the ball a lot and put up a ton of numbers and not necessarily just rely on his defense? Or was that just because they had Mark Whipple? Based on everything I've heard this offseason, it seems like Pat Narduzzi wants to get back to running the football and playing good defense, and that might work against some teams, but I don't think that will be enough to win them the conference. Is Keaton Slovis near or in the same stratosphere as Kenny Pickett, or is he just a complete shell and just not even close to what Kenny Pickett was? That's another big question mark for me. But I do think the talent on the defensive side will keep them in a lot of games, and it gives them an opportunity to pull off some upsets and maybe find themselves sneaking into the ACC championship. Schedule's pretty great too, and this is another area that I think favors them a lot. No Clemson or NC State or Wake Forest. Who the heck do these guys play? I mean, they play at Miami at the end of the year, but other than that, they're missing the three teams that I think are probably their biggest threat. So if you look at their schedule, you just sit back and go, holy cow, this could be a 10-win team again. My sleeper this year, and this team has become a sleeper because now everyone is basically saying their season's over, they're not going to win anything. This team is, going to come back down to earth, come back down to Wake Forest reality, right? And I don't know that I see that. And this all relies on Sam Hartman. all of this. So he obviously probably won't play the first few games as he left the program due to injury. Everyone thinks, but we don't really know. It's unspecified. So we're going to find out when he's going to come back. The expectation is that he will. We just don't know when. And so if I look at their schedule, this is my favorite part about Wake Forest this year as far as being a sleeper team. So they have a bye week, October 15th. Okay. Before that, they play VMI, Vanderbilt, Liberty, Clemson, at Florida State, Army. They're going 4-2 in that, with or without Sam Hartman. That is a very easy schedule. That they're going to lose to Clemson. They're probably going to lose at Florida State, and they're going to win the rest. There's a chance they could go 5-1, though, because I'm not extremely high on Florida State this year either. So let's just say, theoretically, they're 5-1, okay? Their bye week comes. They get Sam Hartman back. The rest of their schedule, Boston College, at Louisville, at NC State, North Carolina, Syracuse, at Duke. There's only one game on that schedule that I would say is a borderline for sure loss, and that's NC State. But I think the bigger part of my reasoning of making them a sleeper is that I think they could beat NC State. And so you're telling me Clemson gets to play them without Sam Hartman. NC State's got to play them with Sam Hartman. And now he could end the season really, really strong. Based on the schedule, this is a team that could hit that 10-win mark if they get Sam back earlier than later. And I think even if they don't, I think they could really shake up the ACC standings before the end of the year. My pretender in the ACC is North Carolina. I don't see it. I don't see it this year with North Carolina. I know everyone talks about a couple years ago when they had such a great season and they won all these games and Sam Howell was awesome, and then they regressed back to the mean last year. I think this is a 6-6 type team this season. I think they are just going to have to figure some things out. I think they're talented, but I don't think they're the elite level of talent where they can just win games because of that. And so I look at their schedule at Miami, Virginia, Wake Forest. They play NC State. I just think this is a 6-6 type team this year. And that's tough because they're on the side of the conference where it feels very, very up for grabs. But I don't see it happening this year. I think they're a step behind Miami and Pitt as well. So who's going to win this conference? So I think in the Coastal, I'm going to go with Miami. I think they're going to go 9-3 this year. They're going to get pushed by Pitt, though. I think that's going to be really, really close. I think both are going to be 9-3 by the end of the year. So I think they'll probably go into the last game. Miami will probably be 8-3 or 9-2, and Pitt will be right around the same. And then I think Miami's going to beat them with that game in Miami. I think they're going to win that one. I think Clemson's going to win the Atlantic with an 11-1 record. They're going to get pushed by NC State, but their win over NC State early in the season is going to be the difference between the two in that one. I still think NC State could get to 10 wins this year, though, go 10-2, which would be a fantastic year for them. So that means Clemson takes on Miami in the conference championship, and I'm going to go with Clemson. I think Clemson wins that one. They get to 12-1 on the year. I think they make the college football playoff with that record. It's just one loss. I know they play in the ACC, but they still have a pretty tough schedule. And I think 12-1 gets you into the college football playoff this particular season. So yeah, Clemson's back. They're going to get in there. They're going to get an opportunity against a very, very talented team, whether it's Ohio State or Alabama, in the first round and try to make it past that game. We'll see if they have the talent to do that. But as far as the ACC goes, Clemson, a very, very good bet to win it again this season. We'll talk about more season predictions for each conference coming up. We've got a few more left before the season starts. Excited to get going with this. Excited for the season to start. But thanks for listening today. This has been Grayson Grunaver.